Welcome to the Dash Mindset Podcast. I'm Sherry Zievenbergen. You were born, you're gonna die, and your adventure is your dash in between. So make the most of it. Unlock your potential in all aspects of your dash by embracing your uniqueness and living in a way that's authentic to you, not by doing more things, but by focusing on the right things. I'm a former corporate leader turned coach who's on my own journey, and I'm passionate about helping you on your journey too. So on the podcast, we'll explore how to live authentically by deciphering who you truly are and what you truly want. Are you ready to take a step toward designing your dash? Someday doesn't actually exist, so let's do it now. Hello, welcome to Dash Mindset Podcast. I am so excited to have you here today, and I'm super excited to have my dear friend, Cat Cantrill here. She is just an amazing human, and I know you're going to enjoy her so much. She is a matchmaker and dating coach, and just a beautiful human inside and out. And because relationships are they're really truly the most important thing in life, right? I mean, that's what we have at the end of the day. And Kat is amazing at helping people find relationships and the love of their life. And so I invited Kat here because of all of her amazingness, and I would love for her to share her story with you. And I just want everyone to know about her, because if you are looking for a match and you know anyone who is, Kat's your gal. So, Kat, thank you for being here.
Sherry,
this is so fun.
Thank you for asking me. I was so excited when you were like, will you be on my podcast? I'm like, yes, of course. I love being here with you. I love the work that you're doing. You have been a huge part of my life personally, and such an inspiration and such a motivator and such a beautiful human. So I'm, of course, where I would not want to be anywhere else other than here with you.
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sweetheart. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So, Kat, tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about your journey.
Okay. How long is this episode?
We have about 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect.
We'll go an hour-ish.
Maybe
we'll see how it goes.
Go grab a drink, and then we'll have a conversation.
Drink, popcorn, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So yes, you said it. So I am a matchmaker and dating coach. I am in the business of love, helping people find love, helping people date, helping people understand the things that they should be focusing on. I'm in the business of needs, not wants, because everyone, when you ask them the things that they're looking for, they have this huge long list of all of these wants. But my job is to help people understand what they need. And especially in a culture where online dating is the number one way that people are meeting, it's still people are struggling because loneliness is an epidemic. People are dying from loneliness. People are so disconnected. And so this is my life's mission, is to help people find love. And sometimes that love that they're searching is the one that they're lacking for themselves. And so just kind of put all of that together. How this journey started is, every matchmaker has their own particular origin story. And mine, I will put it in just a couple of paragraphs. This business actually found me. This was something that I never even thought existed. If you would have asked me 7 years ago if this is what I would be doing, the only matchmaker that I knew of is Patty Stanger, who is the Millionaire Matchmaker. I don't know if some of your listeners have watched that show. I actually know Patty now personally, which is crazy to even think about. But it was something that found me, and I'm an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I have, this business is actually my 5th business that I have started, but it really originated with my primary business, which was, I owned a local dance studio. And through the dance studio, organically, I started coaching women on confidence and love and career and knowing your worth and your value, and helping women build their confidence. And with, that work, it slowly pivoted into dating. I would do a little bit of dating coaching through the studio. I used to take women's phones and start swiping on their behalf. I'm like, you've got this all wrong. Oh, give me your phone. Because when I started the dance studio, I was single. And the women of the studio watched me date. And they watched me go on these dates. And they watched me online date. And they watched me be courted by my now husband, Brian. And so the women in the studio used to be like, find me a Brian. It was like a thing. Like Brian would walk in and everyone would be like, do you have any brothers, Brian? Do you have any cousins? Can you help me find somebody? So the relationship I had with Brian became an incentive for people to seek out assistance and guidance and advice from me when it comes to dating. And it wasn't until COVID of 2020 that forced the studio closed, which really catapulted me into dating, because what ended up happening was more and more singles during COVID were isolated and they were alone and they were sitting in their homes by themselves. And so more and more single women were starting to reach out to me, wanting to help about dating, about relationships, about boundaries, about what am I doing with my life? And it was August of 2020 that I had a woman particularly come to me and say, I know that you can do all of this, but I want what you have. I want a relationship, one that's similar to, what you have with Brian. Teach me. So that woman changed my life. That started really niching down just to dating coaching, in turn turned to matchmaking. And now I can't imagine being anywhere else. And I think all of that experience of working with people in the dance studio and working with women one-on-one, all of those years has really helped me kind of skip the line when it comes to matchmaking. So now it's not that I was a waitress, all of a sudden decided to start matchmaking. I was already in the people business for so long that it seemed to be the right thing to do. And now with who I am in the industry, now I'm considered as a leader in the industry. I mentor people in the matchmaking business. I speak at the conferences. And so it has really brought me to a point in which this is my full-time job and I love it. And I just get to be in this intimate place with people and help them find love. So there you go.
I love your story. And I've heard
a couple of paragraphs.
No. I wasn't limiting you. I just didn't want you to feel like you had to, share as much. I just want you to know you can share as much as you wanted. So I think, did we meet in 2020? Because I don't think you were.
Yes. No, 2021 is when we met.
Okay.
Early
so you had
2021.
That's right. So you had just started at that point.
Right.
And it's so funny because I know it was new to you then, but now, to me, I can't imagine you doing anything other than this. It's just funny how how easy it is to connect the dots in reverse, right?
That's right.
And at the time, but even 7 years ago. And okay, so you had the dance studio and your intention was not, hey, I'm going to have a dance studio and I'm going to coach women about confidence and everything, but it just kind of came from it because of who you are.
Yeah. It was.
And partially Brian. It was definitely Brian too, but you are just naturally intuitive and empathetic and such just an inspiration and just a source of encouragement for people that I think even without Brian, Brian's a big deal. I really like Brian. But even without him, you would still be providing that to women. And then, Brian's here and wait a minute, you need to hook me up and help me figure this out, right?
Right. And when I look back even on my corporate career, because people are so funny, they're like, you used to work in corporate? People are like, what?
I have a hard time with that too. Picturing this whole, I can't, yeah.
But even in corporate, I used to have people who used to ask me for advice all the time. Like if I think about my own timeline, I've always been this person. Even in college, I was the new member educator for my sorority. So the new women would join. It was my job to educate them, to coach them, to teach them the ways. And I was 20 years old. So if we think about who I am as a person, that's why I think matchmaking it was such an easy transition because I've always been in this space with people. I've always had that face where I'm standing in the grocery line and people have a tendency to just kind of tell me everything. And it's so funny because when Brian's with me, he's always like, as soon as someone starts talking to me, he's like, I'll go get the car. I'm like, okay. Because he knows it's going to be a while because people are like, I don't understand. Like, why? I feel like I could just sit here and tell you anything. And I'm like, yes. I just have that energy about me. I know that. And I am always in the space of empathy. I mean, I've taken the Clifton Strengths Finder, and my top 5, that's one of my top 5 is empathy. Mm-hmm. Actually, empathy is one of my top 3. I'm positivity, empathy, and woo. Those are my top 3.
Right.
So
woo. Yep.
Yes. Woo is my number 1, actually. And so it makes sense to me that you want somebody who's positive and an empathetic and a relator and a connector and somebody who can really understand people and be in front of them and listen and empathize with them to be in this industry. Because you need all of those things. Mm-hmm.
I want to interject that woo is not that you're woo woo. It's winning others over. It's an acronym, right. Just for those who aren't familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that. Of course, you're woo and positivity and empathy and all these things. Okay, so for people who are unfamiliar with the whole matchmaking industry, can you talk a little bit about that? Because,
sure.
I mean, okay, first of all, those of us who experienced life without a cell phone, which is hard for a lot of people to even fathom,
right.
We met people in person and, we did things. And now a lot of people are swiping. So it's especially foreign to a lot of people who have maybe had the same significant other for a long time, or, some people just aren't familiar, right? So can you just talk about it in general? Because I have learned so much and I'm fascinated by all of it. And the fact that you have this network of matchmakers and a database and all those things. So can you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So every matchmaker works a little bit differently, but I'll tell you kind of the scope of the business and what it is. It is exactly what it is. It's you match people together. And as a matchmaker, your job is to get to know your client, to understand, again, what their needs are, and to find and vet people on their behalf to find great matches. And not just that. It's not just like, hey, I found this great match, I'm going to give you each other's phone number. It's vetting to the point and coaching to the point where this is why the coaching aspect of this work is really important, because people are horrible at dating. Terrible. And I always tell people, I'm like, hey, if it was easy, I wouldn't even be in business. This wouldn't even be a thing. And if we think about it, when we graduate from high school and we leave and we go off to college and we're dating, nobody teaches us how to date. Because when we're teenagers, we don't want to ask our parents advice for how to date. We're like, I got this all figured out, but you don't. And everyone's just trying to figure it out. And the thing that people don't understand is that your understanding of love and what love is. And I think it's important to mention that's really where I start with a lot of my clients, that if they've never been in a relationship or they don't understand how to date or what this is all about, I start with the very core question, which what does love feel like to you? Because a lot of people don't. And if they do, usually it has to do with how they were raised or their parents' relationship. And so if you're raised in a toxic environment or you have a disconnected relationship with your parents, or your parents had a toxic relationship, how would you even know? You wouldn't even know how to date, what you're looking for, what's important, and all of the ways that you're sabotaging your love life, right? So when it's vetting the matches is just one piece of the equation. It's talking to each person, prepping them for the date, helping them focus on what's important. What are things you say? What are things that you don't say? What's appropriate? What isn't appropriate? What's proper etiquette? I mean, all of these things that people don't understand when it comes to dating and relationships. That, as a matchmaker, that's our job. And it's one of those things that, you could put the best person in front of them, but if a person is focusing on all the wrong things, like money, height. Those things, that don't matter for the longevity of a long-term relationship. You know, the attractive piece, you know, everyone's always like, I know what I'm attracted to, and I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to, which is fine, but looks fade. I always ask, my job is to put somebody in front of you that you connect with, that you know that if you're sick in a hospital, that person will be by your side. That's the character and the type of person that we're looking for. And it comes in all different types of packages. So it's having these honest conversations with people. And it's not, I always tell people, this is not a drive-through. You don't go to a matchmaker because you're a gazillionaire and you're like, I'm going to go and place my order. No, we are in the business of helping real people, not just the good millionaires. I mean, yes, is there some of that in this industry? Of course. But the core of what this industry, but the core of what we do is really helping people focus on what matters and putting people in front of each other, helping them connect and coaching them and supporting them as they explore these new connections. And that's really what this is about.
I love that. It's so funny. I clearly do not help people find love, but a lot of the work I do is about helping people recognize their limiting beliefs, which is the same as what you do, because
yes,
whatever we've done throughout our lives, we continue to do, and we can't even see it. So I know you've said before that a lot of people will swipe on the same person.
Yep.
The same type of person, and then they'll go on a date and it won't go well. And then they'll do it again. We just keep repeating our behavior, and we don't even realize how insane that is.
And a lot of people don't realize that they realize that they're not doing it because science tells us that what we're attracted to is what we're familiar with. And so if you're from, you know, everyone has a type, and usually the type has to do something like with your father or your mother growing up, or maybe it's a particular type of person that, you know, you feel it's familiar to you, so that, you know, it's like a form of self-sabotage, because if you're familiar with this type of person and you know what to expect, then you're not sitting there in a relationship having to be super vulnerable, sitting there and thinking, when is the other shoe to drop? If you date somebody that have predictable behaviors based off of your previous experiences with previous relationships, even though it's the wrong type of person, people will consistently fall for that type of person because they feel like it's a sense of control because they know what to expect.
Right. Yeah. Even if they know the shoe's going to drop, at least they know when it's going to drop.
Exactly. And so then they go, the dating pool's all messed up. The dating pool's terrible. They're terrible. All these people are horrible. And I'm like, but who's the common denominator?
Mm-hmm.
Who's selecting these people? Because I always tell, especially my women, I tell them all the time, there are all types of men that are attracted to you. You're the person who's deciding which ones to pay attention to. So you're letting these kind of guys in. So what does that have to say about how you feel about yourself, your worth, your value, and what you really deserve? Because a lot of these women will consistently date this type of person because they feel deep down that they don't deserve love.
And they have no idea.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. And so I want to mention that, you know, I'm not a therapist, but I do work. A lot of therapists do recommend my work because it really works well when you're working with both a matchmaker and a dating coach and a therapist, because they can really, I mean, especially if somebody that's been through a lot, it can be to your benefit. You just have, like, you know, you've got this team of people behind you, supporting you. Yeah,
absolutely. And you offer a different perspective.
Yes.
It's not therapy, but you start with, okay, tell me about you. It's not, hey, what kind of a guy are you looking for? Let me find that. You're trying to figure out them and how they're limiting themselves. Exactly. I love that so much. I had a question from that. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I know, Kat. So you had me take the assessment.
Attachment style. Yeah.
Thank you. Attachment. I was going to say avoidance style, like anxious style. No, the attachment style. Can you talk a little bit about that in general and what you have seen when it comes to people dating the same type of person and why they might do that? And I know you could talk about this for 4 hours, but just in general.
Yeah. And I think when you took that test, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. I feel like a lot of people do know more about attachment theory, but basically it's it is a theory based off of studies back in the 1920s and 30s where they were watching babies and their relationships with mothers. So this does go back to childhood and how you were raised. And what they found is that they are watching the babies with the moms when the moms would leave the room and how the babies would react when the mom would leave. And how there are three different ways that really four, but three different ways that babies would react when the mom would leave. And one of them being that the baby would eventually be fine. And then the mom would come back in and then the baby would be so avoidant of the mom. Like the baby has gotten used to not having that kind of attention from the mom. So it's just kind of whether the mom's there or not there, it doesn't faze the baby.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So that's the avoidance style. The anxious is the baby when the mom leaves, the baby cannot console themselves. They are crying hysterically on the floor, like cannot wait for their mom to get back. And then as soon as their mom gets back, it takes a long time to console the baby. Either that or the baby would punish the mom for being gone. And then the last is the secure type. And so the secure type is the mom would leave, the baby would be a little bit upset, but then would soothe itself. And then the mom would come back and the baby would greet the mom with open arms. And so the baby knew that it didn't have to worry whether or not the mom was going to be there or not. The baby knew that the mom would be back. So these attachment styles are developed when we are young, and they can change over time depending on the different types of relationships that we're in. And we can have different attachments with different types of people. You can have a certain attachment with your mom, a certain attachment with your dad, your siblings, your love interests, your partner. So what we have found is that certain attachment styles are attracted to certain other attachment styles based off of, again, what they're familiar with. And so there's a misconception that most women are anxious and most men are avoidant, but we know that that is not true, that there are also women that are avoidant and there are men that are anxious. And you can see this a lot in dating. So those that are avoidant, so what happens is that they start to get to know somebody and they're super excited because avoidants do want relationships. They want to be close to somebody. But what happens is that as the relationship starts to develop, the person who's avoidant starts going, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Like what happens is that the person starts to get too close for comfort. So these are the people that are like explaining that people are too clingy, that people are all up in my space, that people are, I don't have any room to breathe because this person won't leave me alone, or they want this or they want that. Most likely that person's avoidant and they can't help it because they don't know what that's like to have somebody that's close. And so they have this fear of, I can't get close to this person because if I get close to this person's going to abandon me. So that's because that's the avoidant. That's what they grew up with. Their parents were never around and they basically had to raise themselves. So they've gotten used to that the only person that they can trust is themselves. Mm-hmm. And so the avoidance, once the person starts to get close, the avoidants are like, I need space. And they push the person away. And the other person's like, and they can't explain it either. Like they are so afraid to lose their independence and their self-efficiency that they are like, I can't have this person because they cannot regulate themselves. Anxious is the complete opposite. Anxious is all up in your business, wants you all up in their business. Like the way that when someone starts to get close to them, they are so afraid of losing you that they hang on. And that's because growing up, their parents were there, not there, there, not there, there. And those that are anxious come usually from divorced parents. So they're trying to figure out. And so the way that they're like, okay, if this person starts to pull back, so the avoidant starts to pull back, the anxious is like, wait, what's going on? I can sense that this person's pulling away. So then they lunge even more so. And the avoidant's like, you're so clingy. Like,
get
and it's
away from me. Yes.
But the avoidant loves the anxious because they love how open and how they can just let people in and they're so loving and they're just like, I want to be like that. And the anxious loves the avoidant because they're so independent and they're just like, how are you just so cool all the time? Like, how are you not thinking about this relationship so much? So They are so attracted to each other, but they are the worst nightmare for one another.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of communication and a lot of sometimes therapy to work through all of that. But ideally, you want a secure person, but secure people don't stay single long. They're secure within themselves and know exactly what they want. As soon as they become single, they find what they want and then they're off the market.
So there are about 10 of those on the planet and you've matched all of them, right?
That's right.
So good luck to everyone else.
Yeah. But if you're with the right partner, you can become secure. You can become secure with the right partner, but it just takes a lot of communication and having a work it out mindset to be able to really be able to stay together. So yeah.
It's so funny. And I'm totally kidding because I know that you have found lots of secure people, but it is funny because, I mean, I remember, so I took the assessment, there were several other people in the room, and it's just funny how, to me, my responses were just like, well, yeah, that's the way I would respond. And other people, I'm like, well, why would you respond that way? Because we don't even know what normal is. We just respond. And so I love that you do that work with people too and help them realize, okay, here's what you're doing. It's the other day, I facilitated a session on positive conversations, and it came up. I said, we're all just really large children. I mean, really, because we just drag everything with us. We have no idea. And then we're all confused by one another. Right. And then it's like, and I mean, an avoidant with an anxious, it's so apparent when you're not one of them to think, well, why are you so clingy and why are you avoiding this person? But when you're in it, it's just, I mean, you're just doing what you do. And I know go ahead.
No, and they have, I have done a presentation about attachment styles in the workplace too. Like,
you have,
with people's email styles, with their, how they manage their teams. You can definitely tell which ones are avoidant and which ones are anxious. And especially the avoidance, unfortunately, those are the ones that really kind of become really successful, especially in corporate, because it's really easy for them to detach. They don't get emotional about it. The anxious is like thinking about what their boss is thinking and what's going on and what my boss sent me this message and what did this mean? And can you decode this text? Am I getting called in for, that's an anxious, we all have those anxious, oh my gosh, I'm getting called into a meeting. Does that mean I'm, again, waiting for the other shoe to drop? What's going on? Am I going to lose my job? And the avoidance just like, hey, I'm just getting called into a meeting. What's the big deal? It's very, you can even see in the workplace how there's attachment styles within the workplace. So,
and then the avoidance thinking, what's wrong with you? Why would you ever think that?
It's weird.
Gosh, it's so funny how we interact. Just being human is so fascinating, isn't it? Okay, so tell us a little bit more about, so you had the dance studio. Yes. You're doing matchmaking. Oh, can you tell us a little bit about the whole database thing? Because that's one of the things that I find fascinating.
So people always ask, like, how do we match people? So there's a couple of different ways that we do. So there is, if you go to my website, it's called the Rolodex, and you can enter your information for free. So you just upload a photo, answer a couple of quick questions. And so I have a database of people that are single who come and they are interested in possibly being connected with one of my clients. Another way that we connect people is through collaboration. And I think you mentioned that before. So I am what they call a collaborative matchmaker. So I'm connected with matchmakers all over the world. And so if I have a great client and I'm like, hey, I'm going to share my client's profile with these other matchmakers and see if they have anybody who's a good fit. So it's not just, this is why when people come to me, they're like, well, how big's your database? I'm like, it doesn't matter, because I have access to everyone else's database. So it's not just about who I have access to, but it's also, I've spent years building these relationships in this industry so that, I can always, we're all here for the common good and to help our clients find connection. And sometimes it might not be somebody that I know, but one of my colleagues that might have somebody that's a great fit. So, yeah.
And it's not one thing that I suspect some people assume is that they're limited to Iowa. So you
No,
started your business
not.
in Iowa, and it's like, well, why would I want? Somebody might be thinking, well, why would I go to a matchmaker in Iowa? I don't want to live in Iowa, right? But you have people in your database in Portugal or wherever, right? So
in the UK, in Australia, I have people all over that are in my database, because between my Instagram and my TikTok and SEO, and I have people that are entering in the database all the time from everywhere. So I mean, join the database. You have nothing to lose, and it's completely for free. So,
That's so fun. Okay, a couple things. When you were talking about helping people figure out what to say, what not to say on dates and stuff, one thing I want to emphasize is that you are by no means having them be someone different than who they are.
Oh gosh, no, yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you need to walk a certain way or you need to say certain things. It's just, let me help you out here, right? So can you give some examples of, refinement?
So the way that I kind of compare this is that when you have, sometimes they compare matchmakers to real estate agents, right? So you have a house and you want to put it on the market. So your house is great. It's got great crown molding. It's got a big backyard. It's got an updated kitchen, right? So it's got some great things about it. There's some things that need to be fixed, right? There's got some, things in here, there and there that need to be fixed. But overall, it's a great house. So you're getting ready to put it on the market. You don't just put it on the market as is, right? You are going to paint the walls. You're going to cut the grass. You're going to make sure there's no dishes in the sink and the carpets are cleaned. You're going to polish it up as much as you can to make a great first impression for your open house. If you didn't do anything to that house and you're like, but it's a great house. You can see it has great crown molding. It has a great yard, but you walk in and there's like dirt everywhere and wrappers and people's dirty underwear. And you're going to walk into that house and go, I'm not even going to, it looks great on the outside, but I'm not even going to bother. Dating is the same thing. You're not changing who you are. You're still the house with the great crown molding and the updated kitchen. We're just making sure that we don't want people to like nitpick something that doesn't exist. So you want to put your best foot forward. You want to make sure and talk about the things that you should be talking about. You want to be inquisitive and ask questions. You want to be interested, not interesting. This is all who you are. You want to get dressed up a little bit, put something on that makes you feel great. Like these are all things, it's just refinement so that you're putting your best foot forward. And people they do push back and they're like, well, you can't take me at my worst and you don't deserve me at my best. But would you buy a house of an open house? You walked in an open house and the place was filthy. Would you be like, well, this is the house at its worst. I'm still interested and I'm going to buy it. Most likely you're not. So you owe it to yourself to connect with somebody in the best form of you as possible. And then as you get to know somebody and you start to see some things, you can overlook those things because you've already connected with that person. You can already see all of their greatness. It's very different.
We all know that maybe people throw their dirty clothes on the floor sometimes, but you're not going to do that on the first date. Like, okay, no. Everybody burps. You're not going to sit there and burp on your first
You're like, well, this is what I do. I just burp all the time. And just take it or leave it. No, you're not going to do that. Because then she's going to be like, check, please. Actually, I have to go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom. Yeah. You don't. Right? Yeah.
Can you share? Okay. So I know some of the things that people will come to you with, their lists. What are some of those things on the list? And I know some people have said to you, no, you just don't understand. You don't get it. This is really a need of mine. When in the grand scheme of things, like you said, do you care? You want somebody to sit there with you at a hospital bed, right? Yes. And if they're 5'6" or 6'2", does it really matter, right? So anyway, now I'll let you talk.
Yeah, there are definitely some unrealistic expectations. And I think part of this that people have, it's a hard conversation to have, which is, great, you can list all of your wants, knock yourself out, list all of your wants. However, we also have to talk about where you're at, and like, you have to understand this person also has to like you. So I will give you some extreme examples just so I can make a point. So I had a consultation this morning with a man who's 65 years old. He is convinced that he is so much younger, which, by the way, if I had $1 for every time someone told me they're not really their age, I wouldn't even have to be working right now. They're like, I'm much younger. People think I'm much young. I'm like, yes, I know. Yes,
yeah.
Everyone.
I'm
yes.
20. I'm 25. I mean,
and they're like, I just have a young energy. I just really get along with people that are so much younger than me. I'm like, yes, you and everybody else. Yes, I know. And this is honest talk, by the way.
Yeah,
just so this is. I will tell you exactly what's up.
I would want nothing other than that.
Yeah, I mean, I met with this guy, he's 65 years old. No, he does not look 65. I have to hand it to him. But he is convinced that the only women that he can connect with are women that are 35. Mm-hmm. Now, this is an extreme example. This is 30 years younger.
Does he have a good relationship with his grandchildren? Is that why he thinks that?
I won't get into all of that. But and I told him, and he's very wealthy, and I told him, I said, doesn't that concern you that the women that are half your age, doesn't that concern you that they're really dating you for you? Like, does that cross your mind? Or does it bother you that you think that maybe possibly she could be just dating you for money? And these are conversations I have to have, because I will not do that. I refuse. I will not set up a man with a woman half his age. I don't care how young he thinks he is. I will not do it.
I need to point out, you just did air quotes because people can't see you. Okay.
Because science tells us that that's not compatible. Because if it's more than a 10-year age gap, what happens is that the other person, the older person, starts to become more of a parental role. And that can really change the dynamic of the partnership. And so I always stay within a 10-year age range, and maybe plus or minus 2, just depends on the person. But that's an unrealistic expectation, because the thing is that I always tell these people is that I have to tell a 35-year-old woman why she should be dating a man twice her age, when she could be dating a man who's 40, who's 45, who's 50, who's 55, who's 30, who's 25. I mean, really, a 35-year-old woman can date. I mean, that's lots of, so yeah. I have to have these conversations with these people. And I'm not in the job of convincing people to go out with one another. My job is to educate people to focus on what matters. And it's very, very different. So if I feel that there's alignment, if their lifestyles are aligned, their religion, the things that we know are important for compatibility, if those things are aligned and the person's like, I don't know, then I will go, just what do you have to lose? Go on a date. But to really convince people to go on dates with people that I know they are not compatible just to fulfill the client's wishes is not what I do. Just like women that are convinced that they need to date men that are over 6 feet. And I give it this whole speech about the average height of a man and why do you have to date a man who's 6 feet? And, so those are extreme cases. Those don't happen very often, but they are conversations that we have to have. So,
and it would be different if with any age difference, the people just naturally met one another and had a chemistry of some sort. But to go in with that specific requirement is very different.
Yes. And it makes me question why. And to me, it all goes down to their own acceptance of age, because everybody, there is some conversations that we have with that. There are some occasions where I will do ageless matchmaking, because some people that, don't present as their age, they do look much younger. And so in those cases, as long as I'm staying within my parameters of what science tells us is compatible, then I won't disclose ages, because I feel like if somebody knows the age of somebody, then they'll already label them. And I don't want that happening. So as long as it's within the parameters of being setting up for success for compatibility, then I will just be like, you guys are within the same age range, is what I always say. You're within the same age range. You're age appropriate. I say it all the time. You're age appropriate. We're good. You're age appropriate. So you don't need to know each other's ages. You're good. Just go on the date.
Okay. So when you were talking about helping them kind of refine their dating skills,
yeah,
that's so important, because I know you've worked with widowers, widows, people who have divorced. And I mean, I cannot imagine dating in this age. Like, what do I wear? Like, I mean, after 2020, I have a hard time just getting dressed to go to the grocery store and figure out, like, what's appropriate now. I don't know. What is it okay if I wear sweats? Whatever. So to go on a date, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. So people need you to say, hey, here's what's socially appropriate, because no one really knows anymore. And especially people who haven't been in the dating scene. So you're not trying to fix them. You're just saying, hey, let me give you a little something. I'll give you a little help here. Okay. So you match, what's the age range that you match? It's huge, right?
Yeah. I mean, the youngest client I've had is 29 and the oldest is 70, and everything in between.
Oh, the youngest is 29.
Yes.
Okay. And so the older, 29, people by that age kind of they're in a groove. They think they know how to do everything. They know the type of person they want, all these things.
Or they don't. They've never dated, right? So we're seeing something in this industry in which the, loneliness is an epidemic, like I mentioned before, but they're finding that only half of Generation Z men have ever approached a woman. Half. Only half. No. So these young men, they don't want to be vulnerable. They, because they've grown up with online dating, and so that doesn't, you don't have to approach people in real life. So a lot of these people have never had any dating history. And so they come to me to be like, I don't even know how to do this. Like, where do I even start? I've tried online dating. It doesn't work for me. And so that's kind of a particular niche, is working with these young men and helping them gain their confidence, putting them on dates, coaching them. And I just found out that one of the men that I worked with, I think when we started working together, I think he was 30. He's engaged now. So yay!
That's so exciting. And that's happened. This isn't the first time that's happened to you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so sweet because he invited me to brunch and I was like, something is going up. Something's going on. And I coached him and, kind of helping him. And so the two of them told me that they were getting engaged and they're getting married in California next year. And they're only inviting 40 people and I'm one of the people. So I'm super excited.
Of course you are. That is so fun. Oh my gosh, how rewarding.
But when he came to me, he had no experience. Because he's shy and introverted and just didn't even know where to begin. So, yeah.
Well, I had not thought about that, Kat, because so many of us are so accustomed to even just emailing, just in the professional world, and so, younger people just aren't accustomed to just having a conversation with someone of the opposite sex, because there's an electronic device between them and the other person, and they can't even see the other person. Oh my gosh. Yes. And you are so well equipped to help that broad age range just in different ways. It's just, people are so lucky.
I have kids in their 20s, right? So to me, and I've been a part of, watching them date and talk about your mom being a matchmaker and you're dating. I keep out of it. I don't get involved unless those kids want to talk to me about it. But,
that has to be so hard.
So, and I dated in my 30s. When I went through my divorce, I was 32 years old. So dated all through my 30s and found Brian in my 40s. And so, I feel that there are definitely, because of my own life experiences and because of everything that I have been through, it's easy for me to relate to people. Really easy.
Yeah. And you just naturally do it well too. And you have all that experience.
Thanks.
Okay. I have so many things. Okay. Let's see here. How do you think, Kat, your life would be different if you hadn't started the dance studio?
Oh,
I mean, if you had just, I can't even imagine.
Mm-mm.
So that's one question I have for you. And I don't even know if you have an answer for that. But then also along the way, you started a matchmaking service in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
That's right. That's right.
And I need to share this too. You did a live dating show
That's right.
at Theater Cedar Rapids here. And nobody here is familiar with any of that. So I know people have reacted to you in different ways, and you just kept going. So can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because it makes complete sense to me, having you as a friend and, connecting all the dots. And it makes sense to everyone close to you. Well, I'll say most of the people close to you. But to other people, what kind of reactions did you get, and what kept you going?
So if I decided not to, something probably would have happened. If it wasn't the dance studio, it was probably going to be something else, because before I started the dance studio, I was looking for a different alternative, whether it was going back to school. I actually thought about becoming a school counselor, because I was a high school dance team coach too. So I had this huge passion for teenagers and helping them. And so something would have shifted at some point, because I was not designed for corporate. I knew that. I was constantly getting in trouble.
Okay, that I can see.
Yeah. I was getting called in. Oh, yeah. I was, that was it. So I think something would have happened. And in a parallel universe, that could have been becoming a hairdresser. I have no idea. Like, people ask me all the time if I'm a hairdresser. I think that's interesting. But anyway, I think something would have happened. And I don't know if it would ended up in the same result, but I definitely would have done something to become more in the business of people, because that's really what my passion was. So when I would say that I am somebody that is not afraid of risk. I don't know what that DNA is about myself, where I am not afraid to take risks. I am not afraid to fail. I am not afraid to put myself on the line. And I don't know if that just came from being more confident in who I was and discovering more of who I was and just walking more into my authentic self. But I've never been fearful of risks. My worst case scenario is that, like, I tried it, it didn't work. Okay, well, at least I did it. At least I did the thing. And so matchmaking in a community that it didn't exist, it wasn't a thing. To me, it was like, okay, this is cool. This isn't, I'm a creative person, obviously. So this is innovative. It's different. It's in the people business. I get to meet new people. And so to me, it seemed, of course, okay, there's no matchmaking business here. Okay, well, let's just start one. It was like that with my dance studio. Oh, there's nothing like this here. I'm just going to start it. And same with the game show. It's like, oh, this sounds cool. This is a great idea. I think I'm going to do this. But there are definitely risks involved when you do those kinds of things, when you are in this business. There is, you definitely have to be mindful of everything. And there's some downsides. I mean, you and I have talked about, I decided to put myself on a billboard. There were some downsides. To that. When you're putting yourself really out there, I mean, people are nasty. They can say some things about what you look like, and that's fine. And now I'm used to it. Now I'm putting up another billboard, and I'm like, okay, what are you going to say to me now? And I think you have to build that muscle. It's like, you like the work that you do is so important. It's just consistently pushing and, having people step outside of the box, and then you get comfortable, and then you got to do it again. You got to do it again. And I'm always doing that. Like, I'm restless. I am a busybody. I am always being like, okay. What can I do now? What can I do now? And that is not a good thing too. There are times where, I need to just sit and just be. And I know that about myself. But it's helpful when you're an entrepreneur. You have the drive and the determination, and you're just like, I'm just going to do this. And Brian will tell you that I will muscle things into existence. And that's just what I do.
Yes, you do. I remember having breakfast with you and I'm sure it was swirling around in your mind prior to this, but I remember you sharing the thought, hey, I might do a dating game show. And I thought, oh, how cool. And we kind of had that discussion. And I feel like it was like a minute later, maybe a week.
Yeah, exactly
and you said,
right.
Okay, I have Theater Cedar Rapids reserved. I'm like, what? And then I went to your game show. Like, how many months later was it? A couple? I don't know. But you just make things happen. It's insane.
Thank you.
And it was wonderful. It was amazing. And then you were planning to maybe have another one. And then you just said, there have been certain things that you've tried. And then you just said, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to move on. It's not, you don't have a fear of, oh gosh, if I do this, somebody's going to expect me to do it every year. Or, a lot of the concerns that we have that never actually turn into anything. You don't worry about that stuff. It's amazing.
Because I know I'm going to learn something. Yeah. It's exciting because for me, if I was to put more of myself into that equation, every time I try something new, I learn something new about myself. And how exciting is that? Where you're like, oh, wow, I'm capable of that. What else am I capable of? Well, what else can I do? I mean, if you're not putting yourself out there and taking risks, how do you even know what you're capable of? You just don't until you do it.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. What would you share with everyone what would be your number one tip for anyone who is interested in finding love?
Okay. So number one tip, I think, is let people know you're open for business.
Oh, that's good.
So many people are afraid to tell people that they're looking for somebody. Yeah. Yes, online dating. Yes, I believe in it, obviously, but it's just a tool. And when people come to me for services, I always say, do people know that you're open for business? Like, are you communicating with people that you're looking for somebody? And when people ask you, what am I looking for? You just say someone wonderful. You don't do a whole criteria of, and that's a tip from my mentor. My mentor taught me that, and that is the best advice, which is, when people ask you what exactly you're looking for, just say someone wonderful. Because what we have learned is that it comes not in the packaging and, in what you think it's going to come in. And I always tell people, I'm like, what's this like romantic idea of this person that you've built in your head? And I'm like, you need to just completely scratch that, because it's going to come in something completely different. And it's not, I don't believe that love happens when you least expect it. I believe that love happens with people that you least expect it happening with. That is the unexpected part. So open for business, looking for someone wonderful.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Because if you have so many specifics in your mind, you're just going to walk past these people
that
exactly right. might be perfect for you. And the same with any opportunity in life. We just restrict ourselves to this tiny little box, and then we just don't notice everything around us. Oh, that's so good. Okay, a couple other things that I know you have as tips. I asked you to share. One was if you are creating a profile picture, probably don't be holding a fish. Don't be in front of a shower curtain, or don't be in front of a toilet. I think you've mentioned those before. Okay, so I just wanted to throw those things in.
And no bathing suits, no shirtless pictures, gentlemen, no sunglasses, no hats, no smolder face, no lingerie.
No what face?
No filtered smolder face.
What does that mean? Oh, that's a thing?
Yes. I'm like, please don't look like you're pooping. We want a smile, please. Smile in your photos. Smile. Yeah. A lot of science backs that up. You've got to smile and look at the camera. No sunglasses, no hats. You want to have like different type of looks to you. And if you don't have any photos, just get them done. Yeah. Get professional photos done. Yes.
And don't be doing things that don't actually interest you. Don't be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro if you don't actually like hikes. Don't be biking if you hate biking, right? These kinds of things. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay. So tell everyone where they can find you, Cat. And I need to throw out there, first of all, that everybody needs to see you on TikTok because you are hysterical.
Oh, thanks. So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Cat Cantrill. You can also, my podcast needs a little bit of love, but there's a lot of episodes out there. So you can find my podcast, Dear Matchmaker. And then you can just go to my website, scottsdalematchmaker.com. I do have offices in Iowa and in Scottsdale, but I do help people nationwide. So just come and find me. Oh, and LinkedIn. You can come hook me up. We can connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Now that you say that, I'm trying to figure out, whenever I get on Instagram or TikTok, I can't quite figure out how to get out. So I've seen you there. I don't even know how. Maybe you sent me some. I don't know. But anyway, what I've seen is good stuff. So that's what I want people to know. That's what I want to know. Okay. And I still haven't asked you this. My last question. What would the current version of Cat tell the younger version?
Well, automatically I wanted to tell her that it's going to be okay. I mean, it depends on what time of life that I'm talking to my younger self. But I think really one of the things that I would say is to never dull your shine. People are always trying to, it's okay to be big and to shine big. And yes, you cast bigger shadows when that happens, but the brighter that you shine, the more that people can find you. So
I love, you are one of the most real humans I know. And I just love that about you. I mean, you're not going to sugarcoat things and say,
about you.
Oh, thank you, Cat.
I do. Yes. Like you and I can always have honest conversations. Always.
We do. I love that. Yeah. I love that so much. But I also, when it comes to matchmaking, you're not going to tell a guy, oh, you want a 35-year-old? Okay. No. And you're 75. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I mean, you're just direct and you tell them what they need to hear that they've never heard before.
So with grace and kindness and with and helping them understand why. It's not like these are just, I've spent a lot of time finding out what works and what doesn't. And so, it's all with heart. So, yes.
And I'm guessing a lot of it too is you asking them questions that help them understand, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense, right? Like when you're asking about height and those kinds of things. So, yeah. It's not like you are even telling them in some cases. Okay. Of course, I loved having you here, Cat. And this has been so much fun. And it's so good to see you. And you're in Scottsdale right now, which makes it especially fun because usually I only see you when you're here.
A little fancy podcast booth. It's kind of cool.
That is so fancy. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Cat. Love you. Thank you for being here. I know that people are going to be following you, even if they're not, there have been singles events that I wanted to go to, even though I'm married. So I know people are going to follow you, whether they're married, single, whatever, because everybody knows somebody. Well, first of all, you're entertaining, but everybody knows somebody who could use you. Or if they don't now, maybe they could later. And I just think everybody should know about you. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I know you enjoyed Cat. And if you need anyone's help finding love, Cat is your gal. Please follow her. She's amazing. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player, tell your friends, and leave us a review. Follow me on my social media platforms highlighted in the show notes, and get in touch with me at thedashmindset.com. Share the topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes. Thanks again for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. We'll see you next time. Design and differentiate your dash your way and make today amazing.